It makes me think about America and how America is linked to a lot of long line of genocides, because we need to really talk about the truth and not sanitize history. They teach us in school, but the blood-soaked reality of American foreign policy from its very inception, the United States has blood on its hands, not just within these borders, but across the globe. Not just genocide of foundational Black Americans, which we are still here, because our numbers would have exploded. We'd probably be more than 14.5 to 15% of the population that we are today. We'll probably be more so 20 to 25% of the population, but of the genocide. Not just in slavery, not just in Jim Crow, not just inciting the Black codes, but even today. Because, ladies and gentlemen, genocides just don't happen in silence. They are funded. They are armed. Who do you believe that Israel is getting their resources and funding and military equipment from? And then they are politically protected. You come out and you say anything anti-Jewish, anything anti-Israel, you are automatically labeled as anti-Semitic and or racist. Just because you can speak on your perspective and your opinion, even if you provide facts and evidence, meaning that is no longer your opinion, is just the truth. And see, in the United States, through 3-letter and 4-letter agencies like the CIA, FBI, NSA, and even Guns for Hire mass as contractors, has played a leading role in a lot of the genocides that America has been a part of, or in some reports have even excited on a certain degree. The indigenous Holocaust in America. Because before the CIA, before the FBI, the US government itself orchestrated genocide against Black Native people, as well as the Red Native people, American Indians, through forced removals like the Trail of Tears, through massacres like Wounded Knee, and through broken treaties backed by military force. America set the blueprint for state-sponsored genocide. The US backed coups and genocides abroad. I just want to kind of build a foundation of how they've committed genocide even on this land. As we look at Indonesia back in 1965, documents and whistleblowers have since revealed that the CIA handed over kill lists of suspected communists to the Suharto regime. Between 500,000 and 1 million people were slaughtered, and Washington called it a victory. Guatemala, 1954. The CIA toppled dramatically elected government that dared to challenge U.S. corporate interests. And what followed were decades of massacre against indigenous Mayans with American weapons and American training fueling the slaughter. I wonder what Fortune 500 companies, what ghost governments that's backed by billion-dollar business men and women have also supported and excited these genocides that America has been a part of. Let's look at Rwanda in 1994. Because while the world watched the machete swing, the U.S. quietly refused to intervene and pull back UN support. They literally told the UN, pull back. Because when we look at the UN and all these other, the WHO, the World Health Organization, I want you guys to look at the people who are on these boards. I want you to look at who gives majority of the funding of a lot of these organizations. America and Americans. And showing that the genocide could proceed unchecked. Silence could be very complicit when we talk about genocides. See, we can't just allow our country to falter. We cannot allow our country to fail. That's why the truth must be spoke. When you look back at all the great empires, from the kingdom of Mali being the most powerful empire in the world at one point in time in Africa, to Genghis and Kublai Khan, when you look at all the Chinese dynasties, you look at certain world powers trying to, Great Britain trying to take over the world, Hitler trying to take over the world. Even though you go back even to the Roman Empire. When I started to look at America, and I'm not referencing as an empire, but this as a country, as well as these other countries I've named, We are doing some of the same things that they've done in history that allow a lot of those countries, empires, and dynasties and kingdoms to fall and to fail. We are literally repeating some of the things they've done in the past that had those nations, that have those countries to fall and fail. We are literally repeating the past. I even thinking about my time in the military, the Middle East, when I was deployed to Iraq, because the Iraq war was launched under false pretense, allegedly, but it destabilized their region and created the breeding grounds for endless death in those countries. Because you had contractors like Blackwater carried out massacres while the U.S. spilled billions in weapons. See, we don't directly do these genocides, ladies and gentlemen. We fund it. We use henchmen and straw men to negotiate contracts of either weapons or support, whatever that faction needs to eradicate a certain people from a certain nation, because we have special interests. It's either political or it's business-based. Because don't believe a lot of these businesses don't have some part or have some influence in a lot of these genocides around the world and in Gaza. As I stated before, 63,000 Palestinians have perished under Israeli bombardment. Entire neighborhoods, entire communities, entire lineages of people and their families have been reduced to rubble. And what is the U.S. doing? What is this great nation that we love so much is doing? We are supplying the weapons, supplying political cover at the United Nations, giving the United Nations every excuse and every reason under the sun why the things that Israel is doing in Gaza is warranted. Supplying the very tools used in what top genocide scholars are now calling a genocide. I wonder what took them so long. Was it 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 30,000 people, 40,000 people, 50,000 people? Oh, it took 63,000 people for all of these top scholars to say, you know what, there's a genocide in Gaza. Wow. And unfortunately, this isn't new. This is Americans' pattern of supplying the weapons, fund the killers, silence the critics. You know what, let's go to the UN and basically tell them, you know, this is not a genocide. This is the idea of trying to eradicate a terrorist group called Hamas outside the state of Israel, as well as in Palestine. We know that Palestine can't do anything because they don't have a military. So after we supply the weapons and we fund the killers, and then we silence the critics on the worldwide stage, when it comes to the IDF, they just bomb and kill, you know, the reporters. But anyway, that's what the reports say. And then what occurs from there? They wash their hands while other people bleed. Is this rhetoric? Is this conjecture? Is this a conspiracy theory? Am I just making all these things up? The whistleblowers don't say that, because from Daniel Ellsberg to Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, and countless anonymous insiders have shown us again and again, America's secret agencies don't just protect the homeland. They export death. Greed may overcome the American dream. I remember when the American dream was having a house with a white picket fence, a 2-car garage, two cars for mom and dad, and maybe one for the teenage son or daughter. Living in a middle-class neighborhood in suburban or urban America and going about living a great life. Everybody wants to be a billionaire. Everybody wants to be a millionaire, and they go to hell or high water to get it. So the question is America guilty of genocide? The question is, how many genocides has America bankrolled, covered up, or directly committed? I love this country because this isn't about hate. This is the truth. And the truth has to be spoken, even if it burns. So my question to you guys, if you love this country as much as I do, and you don't want it to fail, you don't want it to be toppled by being part of continuous atrocities, of funding, supporting, whether it be by henchmen and contractors or even straw men. Do you guys know, believe, or think that America is a part of the Palestinian genocide?